Hello, and welcome to Donkey Chats. We're so excited you're here. You might recognize those donkeys. They're from Texas Poitou Donkey from the intro. We were out there earlier this year. They were super cute, just like the sweetest things I've ever met in my entire life. I'm excited to talk about them today with Charlene and Patrick. So thanks to both of you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Brittany Sweeney. I'm the communications manager at the Livestock Conservancy. Charlene, do you want to introduce yourself and Patrick?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Charlene Couch, and I am Senior Program Manager with the Livestock Conservancy. I am also a confirmed Poitou nut, thanks to Patrick and his donkeys. And we have with us today, this is really special. Patrick Archer is, with his partner Christopher Jones, the owner of probably the largest herd of Poitou donkeys in the country. He is also, he is working on a breeding project to increase the numbers of these donkeys. And he is the guy to go to if you have these sorts of questions. So welcome, Patrick.
Thank you, guys.
You're here and ready to talk about donkeys.
Absolutely. Just thank you so much to both of you. So exciting to be able to just talk about donkeys and answer questions. It is truly a passion and a labor of love for Christopher and I, and to be able to share what we do with others and just get the word out about Poitou donkeys, that they exist, that they are struggling in numbers, and it's just really, really, I'm over the moon to be able to talk to you guys about it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So Patrick, how did you even learn about this breed?
Well, for years, Christopher and I were raising miniature donkeys, and have always just loved donkeys in general. And we were pretty big into it. Had some really beautiful examples of the miniature donkey breed. And just through miniature donkey publications, I knew of Poitou donkeys and what they were. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would see one in person, let alone end up owning one. And so we have some good friends that live close by and raise exotic animals. And we were touring their property one day and happened to drive past a giant hairy donkey in their pasture. And I'm like, whoa, you got to stop. What, is that what I think it is? And they said, yeah, it's a Poitou donkey. We just picked her up from an exotic animal sale here in Texas. And I was like, oh my goodness, would you ever consider selling her? And they said, yes, we would. So I think we brought her home that very day. And that kind of started us on a very long journey that has taken us all across the country, buying donkeys here and there, and just trying to learn everything we could about the breed. I know for a lot of y'all out there, when you Google Poitou donkey, you kind of get the same information over and over. It's kind of like a Wikipedia copy and paste, the same general facts. So just basic husbandry or just details about the breed was really difficult to find. So a lot of what Christopher and I have gone through has just been trial and error and learn as you go. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find a good mentor out there. Unfortunately, a lot of the original breeders in the United States have passed away or are no longer raising Poitou. So, we've learned a lot, some the hard way, but after 12 years, we feel like we have a decent handle on it. And with experts like you, Charlene, and I have to mention Dr. Keith Youngblood, just a truly amazing equine vet here in North Texas. We feel like we're doing pretty well and getting better and better every day.
That's terrific. I never knew that story of your background, so that's really neat. The Poitou is a critically endangered breed. Could you talk about that for just a bit?
Sure.
Where do they come from? Why are they endangered?
So the Poitou breed originated in France, and it has a really interesting history. One, I won't go into all the details, But in 1970, I believe, the numbers were down into the 40s. And through some very, very careful management of the breed, bringing in outside donkey breeds that were similar in type to Poitou, the numbers have been able to increase in Europe. Kind of in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, early 2000s, several animals were imported into the United States, and a handful of animals. And from those breeding programs is kind of the foundation herd that we have today. The numbers are still incredibly small. I think, Charlene, you may be able to answer this better than I, but just from the U.S. Poitou Donkey Census that is currently ongoing with the Livestock Conservancy, we feel like the numbers are teetering around 100, maybe a little less in the United States. And,
75 is what Jeanette has counted so far, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. So it's an uphill battle, and one that we are very aware of every day. Because the numbers are so small, not only in Europe, but especially in the United States, we're dealing with a really small pool of animals that are of breeding age, that are of diverse genetic background, and it's where our struggles are at right now. And it can be overwhelming. It can be discouraging. But here at Texas Poitou Donkeys, and I know with some of the other breeders, we're doing everything that we can to put the best example of the breed on the ground in foaling, and that is conformation-wise, genetics, pedigree-wise, that we are getting the healthiest animal out there. It's a long road, and won't sugarcoat it. It is it's a lot, and it can be disheartening, but there's hope, and we are excited about learning some real specifics on all U.S. Poitou, their genetic background, how they're related to each other. So as a group of breeders, and Chris and I can't do it by ourselves. It's not going to happen. We have to have a group of breeders that are helping us reach that goal. Without y'all, it's not going to happen. So that's kind of the reality of Poitou. And I don't want to sound pessimistic. I want this to be a really positive call, but the reality is the numbers are staggeringly small, and it's shocking.
It really is. Even in France, where the breed was developed for mule production, it's in the 500 to 800 donkey range globally. So the U.S. population represents a big chunk of that, and I think that for a global conservation program, we've got to do here what we can do. And Patrick, you've done a lot of research. You've done a lot of work with Dr. Youngblood, because there are some challenges with reproduction. And you have helped support the census and the DNA work with the donkeys. When Brittany comes back, we'll show some photos. But in the meantime, do you want to talk about what makes these donkeys really wonderful, and what makes them really challenging as well?
Sure. If anybody's been lucky enough to be around a Poitou donkey, what you're immediately struck by is their size. But second, and probably most important, is their demeanor. They are just gentle giants. They're a little goofy. They are sweet. They seek out human attention. And this is from day one. We have foals on the ground, and within 12 hours, they want to crawl in your lap. And that trait follows them for the rest of their life. Now, of course, there's going to be exceptions, but 99% of our Poitou are in your pocket. They just want to be petted and loved. And so they are incredibly endearing animals. and make for really easy pets as far as that's concerned. Even our intact jacks or stallions are uber gentle. A good example would be when the farrier comes and we're doing farrier work, we don't even halter or put a lead rope on. They just stand. I can crawl under them. I can crawl behind them. In the 12 years Chris and I have owned Poitou donkeys, we've never been kicked. They just aren't aggressive animals. They are just, both of y'all have been around them, just really, really sweet, endearing animals. Now, with that being said, there absolutely are challenges. Because, and Charlene, you may be able to talk a little better about this, but I think just due to the gene pool being so small, there are some peculiarities with Poitou that can kind of rear its ugly head from time to time. And we see that mostly in foaling and reproduction. Poitou genets are difficult to get in foal, and also tend to several miscarry early in their pregnancy. Foaling itself is can be quite challenging, and it is both exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. You wait a very long time to get a Poitou foal on the ground, anywhere from 12 to 14 months, and beautiful, healthy foal on the ground, and then it crashes or it develops an incredibly high fever. And that can be a very, very stressful time. Through the 12 years that we have raised Poitou, we have had that experience multiple times. And each time has been truly a learning experience. We are at a place now where through a really specific foaling protocol and what we do after that foal is born, our success rate has skyrocketed. And where we were losing foals in the past, today, I'm happy to say that percentage is tiny. And generally, those foals that do not make it are foals that are premature. We've had a few instances of twinning, which is not uncommon in Poitou. And so that is something that we're trying to catch early in the pregnancy now. So all genets are ultrasound 16 days after they're exposed to a jack, just to ensure that they're not carrying twins, and that we can remedy that situation then and there, and she can carry one foal to term successfully.
Right. Wow. But Brittany, how about cheer us all up and show us some Poitou donkey pictures?
Yes, let's see. I've got those great videos. Thanks, Patrick.
That is awesome. And if that made you smile, it's nothing like being around these Poitous in person. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I think that so the Poitou were used for mule production. Originally, they made these big, wonderful mules by crossing them with big, wonderful horses. And what impressed me today, and probably what made them really valuable mules in part, was their demeanor. I think you saw it in the photos. The demeanor of these animals is really sweet, and they're very people oriented. They just want to be near you. They don't want to push you over or scare you or trample you. They just want to be close. And, that's a piece of the joy of the Poitou donkey world. Patrick, so you talked a little bit about some of the reproductive challenges that may or may not be due to inbreeding in this breed. What are some of the things that you're doing to achieve those great changes in numbers of foals you keep alive?
Right. So what we've learned, and again, I'll mention Dr. Keith Youngblood, is we'll have a beautiful, healthy foal on the ground. Everything's going great, nursing great, seems healthy, happy. And within maybe a couple days or a couple weeks, the foal will start acting lethargic, where its head is down, his ears are droopy, looks a lot like Eeyore. That's the best way I can describe it. And will be running an incredibly high fever. So what we have found is that very simple equine bugs, ailments that a normal horse or donkey could shake off or their immune system could handle, the Poitou cannot. And so part of our foaling protocol now is that every foal within 24 hours of birth is given equine plasma. And we have found that this has been a silver bullet for us in saving foals. So now it didn't happen with every foal that we had. I want to be clear about that. But we had no indication prior to delivery which one would crash or which one would get ill. So we are using it now on every foal, just as a basic insurance policy that we are not going to end up in the ICU with a foal. I'm not going to lie, it's not a cheap procedure or process. It's easy on the foal. It's an IV, and it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to administer. Rough estimate on cost is about $500 per foal to have that done. But in the long run, worth every penny, absolutely. And we will continue to use that protocol going forward. We just feel with Dr. Youngblood that is giving each one of those Poitou foals the best chance of thriving.
Yeah, that's right. What Dr. Youngblood has done and the experience he's had at your farm, he's one of a very few Poitou donkey reproduction experts in the country now. And both Jeanette and I are working to help get the word out about that protocol and how it might be helpful for Poitou breeders. So I know you get questions sometimes. Everybody wants to help. I want to help right now. I want, a Poitou donkey, but that may not be the best idea for everyone. So
Sure.
How do I help?
Sure. So I think a really easy way to help is to share and get the word out that this donkey even exists. There's a huge part of the population in the United States and probably in the world that don't even know the Poitou donkey is on this planet. So awareness is really key. I think a second really easy thing to do is that if you're not in a place to where you could raise Poitou. And, I would assume most people aren't in a place to raise Poitou. An easy way to help us, not only here at Texas Poitou Donkeys, but other breeders out there, is to make a donation to the Livestock Conservancy. There are big things down the pike for this breed in the United States, and we are over the moon excited about it. But it's all going to cost money, and it's going to take a community of folks to make those things happen. Charlene can talk more specifics about that, but it doesn't have to be a huge donation. Whatever you're comfortable with sharing would be amazing and fantastic, and would absolutely move us forward with what we're trying to do here in Texas, as well as the other breeders across the country. It is a very small group of us. I can probably count us on one hand. It's that small that are breeding and doing it in numbers more than one or two. So for those of y'all out there that can contribute, I just can't tell you how amazing that would be. It would be huge. So awareness, and if you could donate to what we're trying to do with the Livestock Conservancy, couldn't thank you enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me jump to that, Patrick. And that was really not a shameless plea for the Livestock Conservancy. That was heartfelt. I think that folks who are seeing this are really, they're really asking themselves and you that question. So Patrick and Christopher have helped us actually get started with a Poitou Donkey census for the United States and Canada. We have ferreted out with Patrick's help, around 75 donkeys, and that's really not a lot. And so one of the things that's going to be critically important for helping the breed to survive is to be able to overcome any issues that might be related to inbreeding, and sometimes those are reproductive issues. By breeding together the very most well-suited pairs, at least for a while. Right now, survival is a little more important than selecting for the very most perfect donkey, although I know you are really good about holding to a breed standard, because there is a standard, a next set of expectations about what makes this breed be this breed. So the census is in progress. If you are out there and you have a Poitou, or you know somebody who does, please put them in contact with either the Livestock Conservancy or Patrick. We'll post his contact information in just a moment, and hopefully folks will reach out to you. The other thing that we're working on is, for everyone we've identified in the Poitou census, we've requested that the owners send us information on their history and background and who the parents might have been. In some cases, there are Poitou out there that don't have pedigrees, and they may be 100% Poitou Donkey, and it would be a shame to lose them from the breeding herd. So everybody has lifted their donkey's tail, which is the best place to sample DNA, and reached under the bottom and plucked out hair and sent it to us. And that hair goes to Texas A&M for genetic testing. And then the results right now, where we are in the DNA work with the Poitou, is that the results have been sent to Dr. Gus Cothran, who is, most people in the equine field know him. He's a really important equine geneticist. And he's going to help us work out the relationships among all the donkeys in the United States, so that we can begin to figure out who should be bred to whom, and which pairs we might want to avoid because they're very closely related, even though we don't know their pedigrees. And Gus can help us do that. He can also help us identify crosses. And in the extremely rare breeds like this, crosses are important. Half of a donkey that's Poitou is way better than no donkey. And those can be, over time, bred up. So a half Poitou times a full Poitou is a 75% Poitou. And over a couple generations, we can return that animal to closer to 100% in its offspring. So those are a couple of the things we're doing. And we'll come back to registration in just a minute. If you do you want to show, Patrick, your images for the breed standard? And then maybe we can talk about how to DNA sample. You've probably got some photos. And also the microchipping project for identification long term.
Sure.
All right.
Is that the confirmation video?
I think.
Okay.
Should be.
Welcome to Texas Poitou Donkeys. I'm here with Little Legend, and today we're going to talk about conformation standards in Poitou donkeys. So for Poitou, we'll start with Bert here with conformation. You want to see a large and long head, and you want to see long ears that are wide open and covered with hair. You don't want to see a real prominent wither, just a real modest one. You want to see a long and straight back that's well attached at the hips. And the hips should not be really, really prominent. The rump should be as long as it is wide, fitting into a square. You also want to see a really long thigh. Bert's a great example of that. And a straight shoulder. See if we can get him to stand straight. Not really. You want to see heavy bone, powerful limbs, and very wide joints. And you see here on Bert's knees, really, really wide. Now, coloring is going to go anywhere from bay brown to a black coat. The underside of their belly and chest are going to be a light gray. They should also have that silver color around their eyes, as well as a red halo. The feet should be wide and covered with hair. Jacks at maturity, or 5 years of age, should be a minimum of 13.3 hands. Genets will be a little bit shorter, hitting a minimum of 13.1 hands at age 5.
Great job. Great job.
You know, one thing about Poitou conformation standards that I think are important, there aren't really specifics. There are generalities. And it makes it a little bit difficult for those folks out there that may believe that they have a Poitou donkey in their pasture to really grab a tape measure and see exactly, what they're looking for. I get a lot of folks that will reach out to me asking me if they think their donkey is Poitou or not. I like to send them back to the French conformation standards, but again, there's some gray area there. So I think that people or folks out there should make sure that their donkeys are, ticking most of those boxes on the French conformation standard before reaching out to the Livestock Conservancy to participate in the census. If the donkey has long hair, but it's 29 inches tall, that's probably not a candidate. It's probably just a long-haired donkey, and there are certainly those out there. Poitou are not the only donkey breed that has a longer coat. You can see it in BLM burros. You can see it across the board in donkey breeds. So coat is not the telltale sign. But, you know, in everybody's defense, when you Google Poitou Donkey, that's the image that comes up. It's that prehistoric looking animal that's covered in dreadlocks. It's really striking. I think that's what most folks are comparing their donkey to. Oh, it's got long hair, it's got dreadlocks, it's got to be part Poitou. That's not always the case.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a really hard thing, because if you do come across a long-haired donkey and you know about the plight of the Poitou, it's only natural to perk up and want to help. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take some questions and re-engage our audience in case they're feeling left out, and see what they're thinking right now.
Sure. We got lots of love happening today.
Good.
Hi, Jean. Thanks for joining us. We're glad you're here. Jean says, hello. Love those long ears.
Thanks, Jean.
I think we all do. Hi, Jeanette. Glad you could join us today. Jeanette says, how is it possible to not become completely obsessed with them?
It's not easy. It's tough.
Hi, Yvette. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Yvette says, hello, Jeanette and Patrick. Pleased to join you today.
Yvette is an amazing advocate for the breed and does just truly amazing things. And thank you so much for being on the call. Honored. Thank you.
We're so glad. Hi, Brian. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Brian says, these guys are great. Highly enjoy spending time with their donkeys.
Oh, thanks, Brian. Really appreciate it. It means a lot.
Hi, Gabrielle. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Sorry, I'm going to wait for the fire truck to go by.
Well, that's a great question, Gabrielle. And we can talk about it a little bit. Poitou are used mainly as draft animals, not necessarily pack animals or riding donkeys. And there's a couple reasons for that. I think conformation really plays a key role. Poitou tend to have longer and weaker backs than, say, a standard donkey or mule. And so you don't really see a lot of pack animals or people using Poitou for pack animals. You really rarely see anybody riding one. I've seen several videos of Poitou in France where they are pulling carts or farm implements, and I think they're probably better suited to that than carrying any heavy weight on their backs. We don't do any packing or riding here at Texas Poitou Donkey, so I can't really speak specifically to that. But I don't see it here in North America.
Great question. Thanks, Gabrielle. Adams Margaret says, I love watching the videos on Facebook.
Thank you, Margaret Adams. Appreciate it. I try to share as much as I can. I wish I could make a living raising Poitou, but I've got a day job, so sometimes that interferes with getting out there and sharing pictures. But try to share as much as I can, not only on Facebook, but Instagram and the website. So if you guys haven't checked out our new website, really excited about it, pretty proud of it. Hats off to Shane Henry that made that happen for us. So check it out if you can.
It's really nice.
It really is. Thanks for joining us today, Margaret. We're excited. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining us today. Kevin says, curious why immunoglobulin, sorry, I'm totally butchering that, tests don't address the need of these donkey foals for plasma.
I'm going to pass that to you, Charlene.
Thanks. Yeah, Kevin, thanks for your question. I am not sure the answer to that, because I know that in horses, which I know a little more about, the deficiency in the foals, the crashing in young foals, comes from often from not getting enough colostrum, which is this really rich source of good immune system materials. Sometimes the animal doesn't have enough to provide for the foal. Sometimes the foal just doesn't suckle well enough to get what nutrition it needs. And frankly, I don't know the answer. That's a very good question for Dr. Youngblood, though, and we'll see if we can get back to you on that, Kevin. That's a great question.
Yeah, absolutely. I will absolutely talk to Dr. Youngblood, and I'm sure he will have a really great answer for you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thanks, Kevin. You stumped us. Hi, Marianne. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Marianne said, would you explain about tissue banking?
Okay. You want to talk about that, Patrick, or is that one back to?
I'm going to pass that to you as well.
Okay. Yeah. So, Marianne, one of the things that that we try to do, especially in equines, where it takes 11 to 14 months to produce a foal. We are trying to do some tissue banking in addition to semen banking. Semen banking gets those genetics into a safe location. They last, as far as we can tell. Those sorts of genetics can last for 50 or more years. So that gives us a way to keep, diverse genetics. For the actual somatic tissue, which is like skin tissue, it's very easy to sample. It's really inexpensive to store. And in the event of a horrible disaster, like the loss of a breed or of a species, an animal can be regrown or cloned from those tissues. The cells are grown out into cell lines, and the folks do their magic. And although it will not produce an animal that is exactly like the one you did own, it is a genetic copy of that animal. And so if that was a really important breeding animal and you happen to sample it as a foal or as a young animal, and you lost that breeding animal too young, or if you find out later that, wow, that was the best donkey jack I've ever seen, I wish we still had him around. It costs a lot of money, but it's in the bank, and cloning keeps getting less and less expensive. And so it is an option. It's, I feel like we've got to do everything we can for this particular breed. That's what we're doing with tissue banking. And Marianne, if you want to get in touch with us, I can answer your questions more specifically. And if you're interested in doing it yourself, I can put you in touch with a company, which actually is in Texas, that offers discounts to Conservancy breeds, Livestock Conservancy breeds. If you come through us, we can set you up with those discounts and get your animals banked.
Marianne, good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Send me some pictures.
Great question. Jeanette wants to know, can you talk about the importance of foot care on Poitous?
Oh, can I ever? So it seems like 2021 has just been a crazy year for hoof issues, not only for us here at Texas Poitou Donkeys, but I think just across the board. We had a abnormally wet and cool spring here in Texas, and so we have seen just a horrible amount of white line disease and hoof abscesses in our herd. On average, we will have about 1 or 2 donkeys get a hoof abscess in a normal year. We have not had white line disease before. So this year has been a doozy. And that it ties into just overall hoof care and making sure that you are scheduling your farrier to come out regularly to keep the donkey's hoof healthy and in shape. So unfortunately, a lot of Poitou in the United States were in herds that the owners had passed away and weren't really getting the care that they should have received, especially hoof care. Hoof care tends to be the last thing people worry about. And so animals, Poitou, were going years without hoof care. And so it makes it easier for that animal to develop an abscess or some infection to get in the hoof. And it takes a very, very long time to bring that animal back to a healthy hoof. And it is expensive. It's very labor intensive. The few animals that we are dealing with white line disease, it's using products they can be found on Amazon. We use a product called Clean Tracks, and it is a soak for an hour. And you're doing that multiple times over a month period. And, I don't want to harp on the money, but, that's about $25 a pop. And when you're dealing with multiple animals, it can really add up. So my point to that is, if you own a Poitou or any equine for that matter, be sure that you are having the farrier come out regularly, addressing issues before they happen. Because 9 times out of 10, those animals that are really suffering with hoof issues didn't have any farrier care for years or months, and it's just really, really difficult to pull that animal back to health. It's something that we're struggling with right now, and it is frustrating, and you hate to see an animal in pain. So yeah, just super important healthcare and hoof care in your Poitou, especially to have such a wide, broad hoof to start with, that it tends to lead to abscesses and white line disease.
Great question and very important information. Hi, Purushottam. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. He thought that Poitou donkeys were used to breed mules.
Yeah, absolutely. That was pretty much their function in life, was to produce the Cadillac or perfect mule. They were bred with a draft horse in France. I'm probably going to butcher this name, Mules, which huge, beautiful draft horse, kind of similar to a Percheron here in the United States. And they produce just this beautiful Poitou mule. And you can Google Poitou mule and see some examples. Unfortunately, there are no Mules that I know of here in the United States for us to try to produce mules. It's something in our long-range plans that we would love to be able to get the Poitou here in the United States going back to what they were originally meant to do. And that was to produce these gorgeous, beautiful, powerful, gentle mules. They are still produced in France, and they're gorgeous. So what we're really concerned about right now here in the United States is numbers and just trying to get the Poitou herd size up. Hopefully someday in the near future, we can explore that option with mules. I know mule folks in the United States are very passionate about what they do. And so it would be so exciting to get their passion, their resources involved. But again, today, we are just trying to save the breed. And hopefully someday we'll be able to move into mule production.
Great.
Good question.
Hi, Randy. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Randy says, do you cross them with Mammoth Jacks?
We do not. American Mammoth Jack stock is a rare breed of its own. And we're kind of two separate entities. Not to say that may not happen at some point. Charlene kind of talked about it a little bit, where, you can bring in outside animals to bolster the herd. And after so many generations, you can get back to a pure Poitou. Right now, we're using the existing jacks here in the United States to breed to the existing Poitou genets. So not using Mammoth Jack stock right now. A Poitou Jack is similar in size to a Mammoth Jack, not quite as tall and not quite as refined as a Mammoth Jack, a little bit stockier, a little bit heavier boned. So we're, again, just using Poitou Jacks at the moment.
Thanks, Randy. Jean says, we use them in the mountains of Nevada as packing animals to haul out deer.
All right. Nice.
You can use them as pack animals.
I wish I knew where they were, Jean. If you have any idea where those animals went to or where they were from, certainly reach out to me or the Livestock Conservancy. Again, we're trying to find every Poitou we can in the United States. And if some were being used in Nevada, I don't know of them. I'm not sure Jeanette or Charlene does either. So, but that's great to know that they were able to carry out deer in the mountains. That's phenomenal. They are strong, powerful animals. So it doesn't surprise me. It just surprises me that somebody had one in Nevada to use as a pack animal. So you know where they're at. Let me know.
I love it. Maybe we found some new ones.
I know. Great. Fantastic.
Thanks, Jean. Hi, Teresa. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Teresa says, amazing animals, and I'm honored to live among them. LOL. Patrick and Chris are awesome as well and are always willing to help us. Oh.
Okay. So Teresa and Dennis Smart, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. So Teresa lives not far. Teresa and Dennis aren't far from us here in Texas, and drove past the pasture and could see the donkeys. And so she started communicating with me about wanting to come out and see them. And I warned her before she did that. I'm like, oh, just beware. You know, if you come out, it's going to be difficult for you to leave without one. And as good luck would have it, that's exactly how it turned out. And Dennis and Teresa are now just amazing partners in breeding here in Texas. And big things, exciting things are happening. So it is, for Christopher and I, such a relief, and I just can't tell you how important it is to have folks doing what we're doing and close by, which is really nice. You know, we bounce ideas off each other all the time. We talk a lot about donkeys all the time. But it is a passion, and one that I'd love to share with Teresa and Dennis. So, you know, this brings me to the point that myself, Christopher, Teresa, Dennis, I can name several other folks out there that are just as passionate and dedicated as we are. But it's going to take more of us to save this breed. Let's go back to that number of how many Poitou are in the United States. It's tiny. It's shocking. And it's going to take not just Teresa and Dennis, myself, Michelle Ashburner, Barry. I could go on with several more names, but it's going to take everybody working together with not only knowledge, but sharing genetics, sharing jacks, whatever it takes to save this breed. And I cannot stress that enough. So if you are in a place where you feel like, boy, I would love to do that. I would love to get into Poitou donkeys. Please contact me, contact Charlene, Jeanette at the Livestock Conservancy, and I am more than happy to tell you the reality of what that is, what that looks like day to day, what the costs are involved. Where do you find one? I think it's super important for y'all to know that it's not always just skipping through the field with beautiful hairy donkeys. There's a lot involved, and you can have just some brilliant days, and you can have a lot of heartbreak as well. But I always go back to just standing in the middle of a group of Poitou donkeys, and it doesn't take long to figure out how special they are and how important it is that we do everything that we can to save them. And if you guys feel like, hey, I've got the facility, I've got the means, I'd really love to do what I can to help you guys out. Contact me. Let's talk. I'll talk until I'm blue in the face about Poitou donkeys. I think most people know that about me, that have been around me. I'm really passionate about it, and I want to save this breed. They deserve it. Poitou donkeys are not in the place that they're in because of Poitou donkeys. They're in the place they're in because of humans, and let's get them back to where they need to be. That's my soapbox.
I don't know how you follow that. It's perfect. I think you and Chris are such amazing mentors to people, and that's so awesome that people can just reach out to you. If you're looking for Patrick, you can find him on Facebook. It's at Texas Poitou Donkeys. Please reach out with all of your questions. He's an amazing resource. And I'm also going to put your website up here. It's new and gorgeous, and it's just tons of beautiful pictures of donkeys.
Thank you.
It's TexasPoitouDonkeys.com. So if you're listening in, save that for later, and please follow them. I'm going to wrap things up because it's soapbox time. Patrick, is there anything else you want to plug today?
I think just again, please, I know it's really, really difficult to find good information out there regarding the breed. And never hesitate to reach out and ask questions. There are no stupid questions. Chris and I started in the same place. We knew nothing about Poitou. And it's been a trial and error, and we found some great mentors on the way, and we just want to share that or be that mentor to other folks out there if we can do that. Don't hesitate to pick up the phone, send me a message on Facebook. I prefer to talk on the phone just because it's easier for me than to type, but let me know if you have specific questions. I'm happy to answer them. I think we've got an uphill battle. That's the reality. And but with the other breeders out there have been some developments in AI which are exciting. Science is catching up, and hopefully we will get to a place to where we don't have to have donkey chats about Poitou donkeys on the Livestock Conservancy. There's another Poitou donkey, big whoop. I can't wait for that day. But again, it's gonna take a community of folks to get that done, and whether that is breeding on your own or contributing to the Livestock Conservancy and what we're trying to do going forward. That's it. But thank you, everybody, for your interest in the breed. They truly are a special animal. They have a special place in Chris and I's heart, and we love sharing them with you.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for this, for the integrity and the energy you bring to this, because this is not an insignificant responsibility. You're doing really, really important work for this breed. You're doing really important work for the future. I know you guys are doing everything you can, and I hope all of us will be able to play some small part in helping you get to that place where Poitou donkeys are a dime a dozen and everybody knows them and loves them.
Yeah, I hope so. And, again, Chris and I are one of a handful of breeders out there, and they are also doing amazing work. So Chris and I aren't the only game in town with Poitou donkeys. I don't want that to be the perception. It's just we've been doing it a while. We have, again, learned the hard way. We've learned a lot, and we just want to be sharing everything that we've learned with y'all if we can. So that's the most important thing. Please use us as a resource going forward. I can put you in touch with other breeders as well if you're not comfortable speaking with me or Christopher. And they are amazing, cool people doing really great stuff. So y'all, thank you.
Thanks, Patrick. Do you wanna wrap us up, Brittany?
Yes. So big thank you to Patrick and Chris. Big thank you to all of the other breeders out there that are doing amazing work that we talked about today. Big thank you to everyone who has an interest in Poitous. Please like, share, shout it from the mountaintops, put it all over Facebook, just flood it. Like, we're trying to get as much info out there. They're super photogenic. So please do all of that. Follow Patrick, follow at Livestock Conservancy. It's donkey month, so get excited. Show everybody, tell people how amazing they are. Like, they'll see it and then they'll know. But then again, I'm biased. Big thank you to all of our supporters and members. We appreciate you. Thank you for making programs like this possible. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you. If you're not a member and you want to become a member, please go to our website. It's livestockconservancy.org, and think about supporting the work that we're doing with Poitou donkeys, with other donkeys, with all of our other livestock. Whatever you can do makes a big difference. So we appreciate you, and thank you to everybody that's already a member. Am I missing anything, Charlene? I feel like I start on a ramble and then I have a brain fart and
Yeah, me too. Yeah, no, that's wonderful, Brittany and Patrick. Sorry, just send donkeys to us. Send your questions to Patrick. If you know anybody out there, just spread the word and let folks know that there is a census underway, that we are trying to find donkeys to be a part of, to be a part of the DNA study so that we can start breeding them more wisely and efficiently, or as wisely and efficiently as possible. And you can find the census at the website that Brittany just posted. We're always interested to hear a story. Even sometimes a story leads to a donkey that we didn't know about. So,
absolutely.
Thank you all for your interest.
If anybody's just listening in, it's the bit.ly/Poitou census. There's information about the census and how to participate. You can download the form and it'll tell you how to send in donkey hairs. So if you have questions, please reach out to us. Please let us know. We want you to participate. We want to find as many hidden donkeys out there as we can. We don't know about them. We can't tell people about them. They can't be a part of the breeding programs. So please participate. All right.
Well, thank you, Patrick. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys so much for all that you do. It's truly appreciated.
You as well. Hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you back in a couple weeks. Have a good one.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.